So this big, open, expansive space is what's referred to as the plaza, and it is separated into two different kind of halves of it. There's a east and a west plaza, and these are really important places. This is where people would gather. There could be ceremonies. Maybe they'd set up trading posts here and have different community gatherings, markets, those kinds of things. There's only one entryway into the interior of this whole space and into these plazas. So this is where you would enter, and the entrance was we don't see the same one there anymore. It's only like it was remodeled at some point, but it was 7 feet wide, which is kind of small if you're thinking about lots of people coming in and out. And it was at the southeastern corner of the western plaza. So it would have been like over here. And what's fascinating about this is it gives us an idea that there probably was some kind of concept of a procession, right? Procession is a big part of what we see in a lot of societies, especially when you enter into a really important place. When you go through city gates to get into the town, like at Babylon. We saw this with the ziggurats, the staircases that lead up to somewhere. We know that these are very often spiritual, but very important rituals and things that people do of entering into an important space. So here's another one of these giant kivas with structures down there as well. Maybe those were for fires. Maybe there was a well there for water. They were probably places where they did celebrate the elements that kept them alive, the elements that they needed for farming, like the water and the earth and the weather. All of these things show us that we have a society that is quite advanced with their architecture and their structure, and that they have a belief system where they honor and show gratitude for the gifts that they have and what they need for their community to continue. So why did this become abandoned? That's a good question. We don't always know. In fact, a lot of people would say it's not abandoned. It's still something that's very important and sacred to the people, the native people who are from this region. But it could have been any number of things. That's something to think about with a lot of the cultures that we've talked about in chapter 2. Why didn't they stick around? Maybe there's a depletion of resources. But one thing that we do know is that as smart as we are and as adaptable as we are, the environment can change in a way that's too quick for us to adapt. Perhaps there were situations, some things happening. It could have been water. Flash floods are horribly destructive. There could have been a lot of reasons, but could have been weather related to why people had to leave the area. But if you ask people who are indigenous from this region, they would tell you that these are their ancestors, that they did not leave. They are still here. And a lot of people, as we've been reading about them and listening to them talk, have mentioned how much they feel the spirits of their ancestors in this space.